Let's bust some microgreens myths today. Myth number 1, you have to water every day during germination. False. When you stack plants in germination and put them under weight, they hold in the moisture. That's the whole point of doing that process. You should not have to miss them every single day unless your environment is super dry. Let's see, we've got these beets right here. They're coming out of weight today. They've been in germination since the 4th, and they're a week old, and we haven't watered them one single time. Do they look okay? Do they look okay? You can see they're surviving just fine with no water. Don't water during germination. Myth number 2, everything has to go into blackout after it comes out of germination. False. Do some plants benefit from blackout? Absolutely, but there's not very many that need it. We only black out our amaranth and our arugula, and that is literally it. Everything else goes straight into the light. So don't feel like you have to black out everything. Do some experiments and see for sure if it actually works for you. We found that we had just as good, if not better, yield when we went straight into the light out of germination. So do some tests. Blackout isn't necessary for most things. And it'll save you from having to wash a lot of extra trays. Myth number 3, you need purple lights to grow microgreens. False. As you can see, we use just white lights, regular shop lights. These aren't even specialty grow lights to actually grow our microgreens. They're standard white, they're T5 Barrinas, they're 40 watts each. They work just fine. You don't need the purple lights to grow microgreens. This celery is literally 5 or 6 weeks old, and it's been under the same white lights the entire time, and it's totally fine. It's growing great. So save yourself some money and just buy regular white lights. They'll be fine. Myth number 4, you need to water your plants twice a day. False. We literally water our plants once per day, and we've been doing it since we started, and it's been totally fine. So as long as you don't have a super dry environment and your humidity is like 20% or less, you'll be totally fine with just watering your plants one time per day. There's really no need. So just go ahead and do it once a day, try it out, see how it goes. You might just have to give them a little extra water to actually make it work, but they should be fine once per day. Don't waste your time having to go through your farm 2 times per day every single day. It's not required. Myth number 5, microgreens don't need nutrients to grow. They'll be totally fine just by themselves. False. While microgreens will grow without nutrients, they won't get very tall. You'll maybe get a ½ inch to an inch at most. So make sure you're using soil that provides all the nutrients you need. We highly recommend FoxFarm Coco Loco or Coast of Maine Sprout Island Blend. If you're using Coco Coir, of course, you can certainly grow in that as well. You just have to add some kind of nutrients to it using like an ocean solution or Agrothrive or Gaia Greens. Any of those will work just fine for Coco Coir if you want to do it that way. But I'm telling you right now, if you try it without nutrients, give it a try. Run an experiment. You're going to see that if you plant them in straight Coco Coir with no nutrients added, they're going to be super, super short. Your yields are going to be terrible. So make sure you give them some nutrients. Like us, they enjoy food the same way we do. Myth number 6, you need small little fans on every single shelf. False. We've been growing microgreens for 4.5 years, and we have never ever used any of these little fans on our shelves, and everything has grown just fine that entire time. So there's really no need to actually have to use any of those fans. They're just an added expense. They're going to use up more electric than you need. I will show you what we use. We just simply use one single fan down every single row. So we have this one fan that's stationary, and we've got 7 of them running down every single row that we have in the whole entire farm. They work just fine. They're not oscillating. They're just blowing straight air. The goal is just to get good air movement. That's really what you're ultimately looking for. So just keep movement of air in your actual farm and you'll be totally fine. You do not need to spend the money on those little fans on every single shelf. If there's a myth that we forgot to mention or you want us to actually look into or give you an answer on, don't hesitate to ask in the comments. I'll make sure I get all those answered. Maybe we'll do some of those in a future video. For now, if you would like to subscribe, feel free to do so. We're going to be doing videos like this a lot more often going forward. We want to try and help educate you guys, help you work better, help you work more efficiently. That's really ultimately the goal. So please subscribe and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.